Hello and welcome to today's Scrapbuster tutorial. I'm super excited to do a Christmas in July project today. We're going to make one of these adorable little pocket ornaments, perfect for gift giving at the holidays. And this is such a really fun, quick, and easy project. I'll walk you through every step. The pattern is absolutely free and linked in the description below. So go ahead and grab that and let's get started. These are the tools I'm going to use in our project today along with my sewing machine. And most of these are just standard sewing implements that you probably already have. I do recommend, if you've got one, a pinking shear. That is really nice for cutting around curves. When we trim our project, it's not necessary because you can snip into those curves and get a really nice result without the pinking shear. It just makes it a lot easier. And I like to use an old scissor to trim my zippers just so that my good sewing fabric scissors don't become dull as quickly. Other than these standard items, this particular project uses key fob hardware, and I'll put a link in the description below to a really affordable kit that includes the tool you're going to need to install that. This project doesn't require very many materials. It requires just a few little scraps of fabric, and I use these templates to cut out and interface my fabric. I've got two pieces for the exterior, and I use the interfacing template to carefully cut out my interfacing, and I adhered that to the wrong side of both exterior pieces, and then I just have my lining pieces. I've got two of those that I used my template to cut out. I have a zipper here. You just need a zipper that's at least 6 inches long, and I like to build my own zippers. I've got a video on my channel that I'll link in the description below in case you're interested in building your own zipper. I've also got some thread here, and I am matching that as closely as possible to my exterior fabric. And then I've got my key fob hardware. Our first step in this project is to install the zipper. So I have one lining and one exterior, and I'm going to place these wrong sides together, right side out. I've got my zipper handy, and I'm just going to line up both circles and decide where I want my zipper to lay, and then I'm going to set this exterior and lining template on top of here with the dotted line lined up with where I like the zipper. Now I'm going to put this on my cutting mat, and I'm going to, this is just my real easy way of doing this, is to line this dotted line up with one of the lines on my cutting mat. Then I can remove the template, substitute a ruler, my good straight edge, and then use my rotary cutter to cut this. And now I have the top and the bottom of this zipper panel. I'm going to set aside this top and start on the bottom. I've got my zipper right side up and closed with my slider all the way over to the right. Because I'm sewing on the reverse side of the fabric, once everything is turned, my final result is going to have that zipper pull on the left. If I wanted this on the right, then I'd need to sew my zipper on like this. But since this is my end goal, I've got my slider over here on the right, and I am going to take my exterior piece and put it right side down on top of my zipper. I like to sew with a zipper that's a little longer than what I need so that I can keep that pull out of the way and not have to worry about it while I'm sewing the zipper on. And I'm just going to clip this in place. Ultimately, we're going to make a zipper sandwich, and we're going to take our lining and we're going to place it on top of the wrong side of the zipper so that these pieces are right sides together and that zipper is in the middle. For a really nice result, I am first going to baste on this exterior piece. Then I'll add in the lining and use this a regular seam allowance. I am going to sew both steps with the zipper teeth up because that will give me a better result in the end. Before I turn this in top stitch, I am going to use my pen to mark on the very edge of the zipper tape, right next to our curved edge on this bottom half of our zipper panel. Those marks are going to help us line up the top half of the zipper panel. And once I've made my marks, I'm just going to fold these fabric pieces out so that they are wrong sides together, and I'm going to try and line these up as best as possible along this curve. I'm going to give it a quick press, and then I'm going to go to my machine and top stitch this seam in place. This zipper is halfway installed, and I am going to repeat the exact same steps I used to install this bottom half in order to install the top half. So I'm going to make my zipper sandwich, baste, sew in place, and then top stitch. And I'm using these marks that I just made to line up my first piece of fabric here on the top half. Now I'm ready to take this to the machine and top stitch the top half of our zipper panel. And then once I've got that top stitched, I'm going to take this slider and pull it into the middle and go ahead and trim off the zipper and baste around the entire zipper panel. With the zipper panel completed, we're ready to work on the front of our project. So I'm going to set this aside and take my remaining exterior piece and place it right side down. And I'm going to decide where I want the top of my ornament to be. And then I am going to lay my template. This is the interfacing and seam template. I'm going to lay that here on top of the interfacing and use these lines in the template to mark my opening. This is the opening that I'm going to turn the project through after sewing it up. I'm going to mark that really well. And then I'm just going to draw around the entire perimeter. And because that interfacing is cut to size using this template, I'm really just drawing around the edge of the interfacing. So I could move the template at this point. I don't really need it for this. It does sort of help to hold everything in place while I'm making my line. And now I'm going to pull this zipper panel back out, and I'm going to place the marks at the top. I'm going to make my zipper parallel to my opening, and so I'm lining my zipper up and then lining my marks up at the top. And I just want to make sure my circles line up. So I've got my right sides together for both exterior pieces, and I'll clip that in place. Now I'm ready to sew the entire perimeter, and I'm going to follow my pen line right off the edge of the interfacing all the way around. And you'll see why we have these openings marked, because in our final sew, when we sew the lining on, we are going to leave that open. For now though, we're going to sew all the way around the entire perimeter. With our exterior completely sewn up, we are ready to attach the final lining piece. So I'm going to take the lining side and my extra lining piece and put them right sides together, line up this circle, and clip it in place. And once I have all of this clipped, I am going to sew around the perimeter again, but this time I'm going to start at one of my marks, and I'm going to backstitch really well and sew all the way around to the second mark, backstitching really well. I'm going to leave this area between my marks open. We are completely done sewing. I have my pinking shear ready and my little mini iron ready, and I am going to trim down the seam allowance to about half. I'm going to do it from the lining side just because I can see my stitching a little bit better and I don't want to cut through my stitches, I am not going to trim the opening. I'm going to leave that as is, and I'm not going to trim at all over my zipper. I can feel my zipper in there, and I want to leave that entire seam allowance over the zipper intact, so I'm not going to trim that. But I'm going to use my pinking shear for everything else. This is now ready to turn and press and finish off. But just a quick note, if you don't have pinking shears, you can use a regular scissor to do your trimming, but where you trim, you would then want to make snips every 1/4 inch, just close to your stitching, but not over the stitching, and that will create like a fringe, and that fringe will also help these curves to look smooth once you have turned your project. Now I am ready to put my fingers in here where our lining is open and turn this right side out. And just a tip, if you first pull through one end of the zipper, push and pull and push and pull, then the rest of the project comes through fairly easily. Once you've turned this, you can smooth out the entire circle with your fingers. And then you will see that we have our little opening here. Because I'm going to use this key fob hardware in the final step, that is actually going to close up this opening. Nobody will ever know it's there. If you wanted to do a similar project and not use key fob hardware, you would want at this stage to very carefully hand stitch your lining to close off that hole. Now we're ready to turn this all the way through the zipper opening. And you'll be able to see how our project is going to look. I love drawing on my seam when I do curves and circles because they turn out so beautifully every time. It's especially a good thing to do if you're just practicing sewing curves. I'm going to open this back up and use my fingers to make sure that that opening in here is all pushed in to the top of our project. And I'm going to pinch that with my fingers and use my iron to press it in place. Press that really well so it'll hold its shape for now. I'm going to zip it again most of the way, and then I'm just going to press the entire thing, avoiding putting my iron directly on the zipper. It is time to install the key fob hardware. So I want to make some measurements to do this because I really want it centered and I want the zipper to be as parallel as possible. So I'm going to line my zipper up here with my line on my cutting mat. And what I've got now is a 4-inch circle. So I have a center line here that I can use as a guide for this ruler. So I am put this ruler right on that center line, and then I can use my pen to mark each side of this ruler. And I like to have the little prongs at the back where the zipper is, so that it looks nice and smooth and shiny at the front here. So I'm just going to line this up, and this is the tricky part where you've got to hold this in place really well while using this tool. And I'm using my fingers just to press it in part way so that I can know that it's lined up really well. Pull out my tool and stick it in there and press the rest of the way. And there we are, an adorable ornament, and also a little zipper pouch. And you'll notice that this top where we have our opening is completely closed by this key fob hardware, and all of our seams are beautifully finished on the entire interior of our project. And now we're ready to load it up, and it's gift worthy. And that concludes today's Christmas in July tutorial. We have a pocket ornament ready to load with some treats, cash, jewelry. I'm sure there's lots of other wonderful ideas. And if you have any ideas, suggestions, or questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. If you appreciate this content and want to help my channel, please like and subscribe. And until next time, happy sewing.